morning's July 1st reorganization meeting together to order. Maybe I'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all. All right, so today's first order of business is to welcome John Luthringer to the district. He's our new superintendent, and I would like to have him take his oath of office. John, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of office of Superintendent of Schools according to the best of your abilities?
I do.
Bill? Rest is me.
Okay.
Thank you, John. Welcome. Okay, our next order of business is swearing in our two new board members. And Donna, because you are the closest in proximity, I will start with you. Donna, do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of office of board member of the Lake George Central School District according to the best of your abilities?
I do.
Thank you. Mario Fazzullo, do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of office of board member of the Lake George Central School District according to the best of your abilities?
I do.
Okay, the next order of business is the election of the board president for the 22-23 school year. So with that being said, with the new board members sworn in, the superintendent sworn in, I would like to officially open the floor for nominations for board president.
To nominate Katie Bruning for board president.
I second the nomination.
I accept the nomination.
All right. Are there any nominations at this point? Then I would like to officially have someone make a motion and a second to close the nominations.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. There's one right here. I got that one. And with that being said, may I have a motion to appoint Katie Bruning as president of the Lake George, the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District? All in favor?
I,
You do. And Katie?
Yes.
Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of President of the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District according to the best of your abilities? Thank you. And with that being said, I would like to officially turn over the remainder of this meeting and the next to Katie Birding, our new board president.
Thank you. And I do invite y'all to speak up. I mess up the wording of things today and always. So I want to first thank Trish for 3 years of dedicated service as board president. When I think of Trish, I think of kindness, compassion, just someone who truly listens to understand people. You strive for inclusion, and you strive for collaborative decision-making, and always being transparent, trustworthy, just all the things that help make a board successful in service to the district. So thank you for that. And the cool thing is, you're still sitting with us as past president to continue to contribute to the board and to mentor me if I have a question. And I appreciate the confidence in the board to elect me as president. And I really look forward to working with this group of folks and with our new superintendent, John, and all the admin team as a governance team. Things are looking bright and sunny. So I think we have a great school year coming up. So thank you. And the next order of business is requesting nominations for the position of vice president.
I'd like to nominate Mary Ann McKenzie.
Is there any other nominations for vice president? Can I get a motion to close the nominations? That's the next order.
Second.
Okay, then we'll move on to a motion to elect.
So moved.
I'll second. Okay. So now we need a vote. Yeah, all in favor of Mary Ann McKenzie for vice president?
Aye.
Enthusiastically, unanimously, yeah. Thank you, Mary Ann.
Mary Ann McKenzie, do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of office of Vice President of the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District according to the best of your abilities?
I do. I needed this second, but.
Sarah she's flinging that mic to your. You good? Okay. Our next order of business is the reorganizational consent agenda. think John's going to do that recommendation.
Thank you. As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District approves the reorganizational meeting consent agenda A through OO.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the next is the motion to approve the board committees. John?
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby approves the committee appointments as follows. Policy, Audit and Finance Committee, Curriculum, Building and Grounds, Board Development, Culture and Climate, which represented and chaired by the board members as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. And the last item for the, this section of our meeting, our reorganization meeting, is the adjournment of this meeting, but don't go anywhere because we roll right into the next one. So do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
All those, any discussion about closing the meeting? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, so the next is our regular board meeting. And we'll roll right into that. And our first order of business on that is the district-wide safety plan, which John's going to talk about.
Yes, each year, the district-wide safety plan is available on the website for public comment and review. There are minor changes to it at this point, and speaking with Lynn about that, mainly formatting, adding my name as the chief school officer. And there is a link on the website, and there is a place right on the website for public comment. And those comments go to administration and for discussion and review. But it is there for the next 30 days.
Thank you. And the next one is, John, you're up again with the
Yep.
superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be brief. I do have, it's interesting as a first meeting, typically a superintendent may not have much to say, but it's been interesting that I've been able to take part in a lot of activities over the last 3 months, really, since the appointment in April. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight a few different things. The first one is really to thank the district and the Board of Education for appointing me, but then allowing me to spend time in the district. And really really a lot of kudos go to just the welcoming and accommodating and accessibility that our administration showed to me over the last 3 months. They've been wonderful. I've had the pleasure of really spending about a day a week in district, sometimes more. I've had the pleasure of having tours by each administrator. I've spent time with Megan. I've spent time with Lynn. I've spent time with some board members. I've spent time with Sarah. And really, it's allowed for me to get to know the district and get to start some level of understanding and foundation here. So I feel very privileged and very fortunate that for the last few months, I've been able to partake and get to learn a little bit more about this district. So I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Huntley for his service to this district. He's done a wonderful job here, and he's certainly been, really helped forge a roadmap moving into this school year. So I feel very fortunate to continue to work with him in a mentoring capacity this year, and I look forward to a really great start to the school year. So part of what I wanted to mention about that is that I developed an entry plan prior to the appointment in April, and it's really kind of worked out exactly how I thought it would. The first part of the entry plan was really the pre-entry phase. We're, again, having some meetings, getting to know people, attending some events, and really taking in the buildings. And now we're shifting in really into the formal entry plan. And really my focus for the next few months is going to be on building relationships that not only school relationships, but also community relationships. So starting next week, I just want to inform the Board of Education that I'll be starting and working together on setting up, I'm calling them Let's Get Acquainted meetings. So I'd like to sit down with each board member individually over the next month, and also administration and a whole list of other stakeholders that I'd like to sit with and really get to know each other. Talk about expectations, get to know each other a little bit more on a personal level, and really just talk about some plans for the year. So I'll be working with Sarah on scheduling those, but just wanted to let the board know that I'm really looking forward to sitting down and getting to know each one of you. And that process will be starting. So more information will come in the Thursday themes on that progress as we advance into summer. But really, we're going to hit the ground running. We've got a lot of things going on. And one of the last things that I wanted to talk briefly about was yesterday we had our first meeting with Tetra Tech, our architectural firm, in working on the pre-referendum phase. So we're really starting that phase right now. We had a great kickoff meeting. Planning meeting. They came well prepared. We started discussing timeline leading to a December vote on, and really the next phase is we're going to be really digging in with a committee and looking at the two options that were presented throughout this year. So a lot more information to come on that, but I feel very fortunate and very encouraged by the meeting that we had yesterday. It was a lengthy meeting and we went into a lot of great detail on the next phases that we're going to be going into. So again, more information to come. We'll be presenting to the Board of Education regularly on the progress of the transportation project that we'll be working on. And just a couple last items here, as the board knows as well, we are shifting communication services. We previously had 3 days a week with our Wish We BOCES, and we're shifting to Cap Region BOCES. I know the board's aware of that, but they're starting today. I have a meeting with Aubrey at 10 o'clock. Aubrey's going to be filling in until they find a more permanent person. I feel, again, fortunate. I've worked with Aubrey in my previous district. She's wonderful, and she's really going to help with our administration really start to craft a annual communications plan, starting to prioritize the different needs of communication in this district, and really help us make sure that we prioritize what we need to get going right now, starting really with the district calendar to make sure that's ready to go out to our community. And lastly, I know the board is going to act on this in the consent agenda, the faculty consent agenda, but I wanted to just talk briefly about our interim director of facilities, Kurt Harrington. So again, he's started here the last couple of days. I think today's his official day, but he's been here the last 2 days getting to know people as well. And he comes with a wealth of knowledge. He's a former retired director of facilities. I got to know him in my past district as well as part of the maintenance team. He's really going to help us as we transition to a new director of facilities, which is going to take some time here as we work through the civil service process. So I know Lynn is as well, on top of that, but it's going to take some time. So again, we feel very fortunate to have somebody who come in with a wealth of knowledge to ensure that the projects get done for the summer, and then really help us transition to a permanent director of facilities as that search is ongoing. And with that, again, I just want to thank everybody. I'm really excited to be here. This has been a wonderful experience so far, and I really, really look forward to the future of Lake George.
Thank you, John. And the next item is President's Report. And I wanted to just thank you, John, for your commitment in your pre-entry plan, because the fact that you've spent time and really today's your official first day, but you've put a lot of time in, and we appreciate that. So thank you. There's a couple items. One is board orientation. And that is something we talked about at a couple board meetings, but we've gotten started with board orientation, getting Donna and Mario ready for their first meeting. It's just getting our toe in the water. And a few years ago, we identified a need for a more structured, thorough orientation for new board members. And in 2019, the Board Development Committee got started with that and put together a pretty nice packet. Then COVID hit, and we did do orientation with Ginny and Rosemary, but it wasn't what we had dreamed of. And then the next year, Trish and I were reelected, so there wasn't a new board member. And now we feel like we have the Board Development Committee with the Springs taking a look. And Marianne, thank you for a lot of your work on that. Really getting that packet of information together, and so we're all we're all part of the orientation team, but thank you to Janine and Rosemarie who have offered to be mentors to Donna and Mario. And again, we'll all be part of it. And it's an evolving process as we find, hey, this is something we hadn't thought of that would be helpful. You know, it's a living document, so that will evolve as we learn and grow. So Sarah will give access to everybody for that. So we have that nice checklist and all those resources to do that. So that's underway. We're excited about that. And then the other piece on the president's report, I'm actually going to turn over to Tricia because she was active in communication with this next topic.
So this has to do with the recommendation from the book review committee. And this is information that just came to us this week. So we're going to need a little time to review the recommendation, but to just briefly, the committee did find that there's literary value in the book. There are some strengths listed in our recommendation. They also found some excessive language and sexual content, which led to the question of the developmental appropriateness for the junior high. They didn't find that for this, for the high school 9 through 12, that there was a question, but the question before us is junior high. And one of the things I started to have a conversation with Doug about, but I'm going to now punt it to John, is I think that the board is looking for some more information on process, because we can recognize that that's probably not the only book that would have controversial material in it. And if we could get a little bit more background of what information comes when books are recommended to the library, and then what is the process? Because I know in this last time there was Sarah was able to say, hey, let's check in with the parent before a 7th grader checked out that particular book, which I think we were all very pleased to hear that there was that judgment and oversight. Is there any standard that's set, and is that something that is in discussion right now? And is there anything else that anybody wants to know before we have an open board table discussion and make a decision in August?
I'd like to make a comment that I was pleased with the committee's work and how they organized their approach to trying to make a decision about the value of this book. And I really appreciate them really trying to think about appropriateness in terms of age, and that's going to be really challenging, considering any 9th through 12th grader could check out that book and obviously let a 7th or 8th grader read it. But anyway, that's a whole other issue.
And, I've given a lot of thought to that. Beyond just this particular book, there's so much content available to our students in the library, online, and everywhere. In a lot of our curriculum reports and all the reports, we hear about how we help students navigate and think critically and help have, conversations with parents. So that's just something that came to my mind.
Yeah, and I think just to reiterate in a different way what you said, Tricia, I like as a board member, sort of understanding what the system is, or the district process is in deciding how to manage a book or accept it, or to deal with it. Even in the case that we're talking about, where the librarian had the wisdom to used her judgment to make have a good response in that one situation. Even if that was that might be the formal system. That I think if that's it, it doesn't have, in my own mind, it doesn't have, whatever it is, it's just good to be able to understand what it is, and then just have faith in that, and be able to point to it. That's important to me. That makes sense.
Yeah, and I give great thanks for the committee work and the notes that they provided. And they also gave an invitation really for all board members to read the book. And I know a few already have, so we'll have more in-depth discussion in August. Thanks.
Anybody else? The next item on the agenda is the Audit and Finance Committee update, which I will give. Mario is going to be our new chair of the Audit and Finance Committee. I'm going to give the June report, and I'm still on the committee, so I'll be alongside Mario as he transitions into that role. So for June, we actually did not have a meeting because the only thing on the agenda was the treasurer's report and the claims auditor report. So the committee reviewed that electronically. And one thing to note on the treasurer's report is budget transfer that was approved by the board on June 14th. It was a budget transfer that has to be approved by the board because of its the dollar amount. Otherwise, there really wasn't anything noteworthy to report in the treasurer's report or the auditor's report, and those were recommended for approval on the consent agenda today. And that's it for that meeting. Next is Marion McKenzie up with the policy committee update.
Okay, and so we have got 5 policies moving to second read this evening: public complaints, parent, teacher, student organization, emergency school closings, prohibition of weapons on school grounds, and operation of motor-driven vehicles on district property. We discussed each of those at last month's board meeting. We don't have any policies moving to first read today, but what we do have are the 3 policies that require annual review. They are code of conduct, investments, and purchasing. Those policies were each reviewed by the policy committee and brought before the board earlier this academic year, and then we re-reviewed them last month electronically with no changes. No changes recommended. So they are just on my report today because we're setting them to a July annual review cycle. So they are current, and it'll be noted that the board has completed annual review. And that is my report. Any questions? Thanks.
Next up, we have the school business consent agenda.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Lake George Central School District hereby approves the school business consent agenda items A through H. In this consent agenda, the item A is the motion to approve the meetings from the meeting held on June 14th. Item B pertains to the treasurer's report and extracurricular activities fund and warrants. Item C is the claims auditor report that will be incorporated in the minutes of this meeting. Item D pertains to if the district needs to apply insecticides or pesticides, we need to notify the public and community of that. And that's determined if we need to, if there are biting or insects surrounding the playing fields that present a problem and they need to be eradicated. That's basically that one. Item E pertains to the surplus list and the surplus property of no value. The school district will be they're obsolete or damaged beyond repair, and authorizing disposal of items according to board policy. Item F, along the same lines, we do have a Microbird minibus and 1 Freightliner bus as a surplus property, so those will go to auction if approved. And item G is the basically motion that will continue to have 2 readings of a policy prior to its adoption. And last, item H is a donation from Courtney Hall in the amount of $950. The funds will be utilized for STEM camp supplies and materials.
We have a motion for approval.
So moved.
Is there any discussion about?
Just a thank you to Courtney Hall for that donation. That's fantastic.
That's great. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. The next item is the faculty staff appointments.
As recommended by the superintendent, be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Lake George Central School District hereby approves the faculty staff appointment consent agenda, items A through C. Item A is Kurt Harrington. I spoke about that in the superintendent's report. Item B is the amended coaches list and the amended volunteer coaches list and salaries with those positions. Item C is also the amended extracurricular and co-curricular list and salaries associated with those positions.
We have a motion.
Second.
Is there any questions, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Oh, aye. Too. Any opposed? Motion carried. The next item is Board of Education member comments. Does anybody have anything for?
I'd just like to say thank you for your kind words. It's been an honor to serve as president, and it is my delight that you have taken on the role of president, and I am here to support. And also thank you for everyone for your hard work with the orientation. We've really taken it to the next level for our incoming board members, and Donna and Mario. We're so pleased to have you at the table, and please reach out with any questions, and happy to help with the formal orientation and community building here too.
I did want to say, actually, Tricia, I wanted to say thank you and for what I've learned from you. You think you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but I certainly had to revisit what the word grace meant over these past years working with you, and you exemplified, I don't know, just what grace is in very difficult, challenging situations. So thank you for being such a, I don't know, a positive influence on me still in my professional and my personal life. So thank you.
Okay. Well said, well said. Anybody else? The next item is public comment. What? Oh, did I miss them?
No, it's just the board. Were we gonna just comment?
Oh, yes, we were we? I mean, the board goals section set. Yeah, okay.
Well, I think in terms of goals, I believe that we're going to be setting up a workshop, and we're going to be collaborating with John and the district so that our goals are aligned with, board goals and district goals are combined together. So that's going to be happening coming up. Stay tuned.
Good catch, thank you. The next item is public comments. Do we have anybody, is there anybody with an email online? No, okay. So if we don't have any public comment, then I will be looking for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Donna, we got you out of here on time.